Hello, beloveds. It's Melona coming at you with some Omega energy. My students always give me good topics, and I just wanted to come through with one for you real quick. Considering a lot of things, this is gonna be like an outside energy, but inside energy. Y'all can use this during this time period if you like, but it's just a general understanding. And this is for the feminines and whatever package that come in, the feminines, okay? And the feminines, I'm saying these are the digital gatekeepers of all of this matrix in the universe. Now we're gonna break down some things real quick so you can understand them. One, the female body is the only body that acts as the overall computer that runs the place. And yeah, this one of those songs, one of my favorite Beyonce songs is Girls Run the World. And they absolutely do. And here's one of those things where science has the proof in different spots, but they never put the puzzle quite together. I did a long time ago, honey. Okay? So imagine your body like a computer. hmm And every single male out there, those of you who are cisgendered, and this can work outside of the sexual component of life. But we're gonna stick there for now. Excuse the sounds over here. We have a lot of planes in the area. Anyway, so every single time you copulate with a male without some sort of protection or with, your body is absorbing their digital fingerprint in their DNA. Whether you make a baby or not, you've absorbed that person's DNA imprint, which means you know a lot of things about that person that they don't even realize you know. You don't even realize you know. If you're able to in some way recognize that, especially if it's somebody you're consistent with, whether they talk a lot or not, you are going to start registering their energy and understanding them in ways that nobody else is because you're the consistent person that's there. You might think he's doing that for you too, but the thing that the wall that women run into, especially those who deal with men cisgendered or bisexual women deal with, is they expect the man to know them as much as they know that man. And when I tell you this is impossible, from a biological standpoint, this is impossible. You are the absorber of information. You're literally the computer and they are the junk drive. They're supposed to be giving you protection and understanding and all this so their information can be passed to you so it can be something that you can output potentially a child. But sometimes you can just output potentially better results and support for that man. As they support you, you support them. It's reciprocal and symbiotic. Okay? And this can go with, and I know a lot of this is going to sound more like male to female, cisgendered type of dynamic, but apply it where you think it can work for you if you are outside of that dynamic. Okay? The overarching understanding is if you understand yourself and respect your intuition and respect your mind, you understand in the equation of life. Ain't no way a junk drive was created before a computer. Now, just on logic sense, if you understand the scientific perspective of what I just told you, that the junk drive, which is the male's DNA and counterpart, goes into the computer, which is you as a female. And you then create, a lot of times when you have files on your computer, whether you intend or not, other files attach themselves to it. So you can be uploading one thing and decided that that's the digital copy of that file, but that file also enjoins other digital information on that RAM, on that hard drive. So it's just joining other information. So whatever information you have on board already is also being connected to it. So all of what you are and what you have right now is having an additional members of the family in the DNA capsules that's being sent to your hard drive. If you understand that, you realize, look at it from a perspective of how things were created and what came first, the chicken or the egg. Now, if you take an intuitive leap or use the logical path, why the hell would anybody create a jump drive if they didn't have a computer to plug it in? That's what makes all the sense to me. Or maybe somebody might argue on that same framework, just thinking. They created the jump drive, realized that it's useless without a computer. Either way, it's fine with me. And that takes me to my next point. Spiritual, goddess concept, and complex. Bitch, attitude, whatever you want to call it. It's something that you carry with you or you do. And it's something that you can learn to carry with you through more and more self-love. Okay? There were certain aspects and times in my life, for example, and there are people around me, women in particular, that were like, how come? Well, how come you always have a man? I don't look at it as I have a man. A man can be for anybody. We've learned that more and more nowadays. A lot of people lie about who they with, who they not with, all that. What do you mean by have a man? Well, why come you ain't never really single? Well, I'm single a lot of times. I'm single right now. And the concept they're trying to get me to admit to or talk about is, how come you always got somebody though? Because I don't care most of the time whether I do or not. This is a level of self-love. There are no socialized stereotypes that's going to force me to be with anybody. Oh, if you don't have a man, you're not worthy. What if I have several, hun? What if I have 0 1 month and 7 next month? Oh, that makes you a slut. No, I don't. But if I do, I'm good at it. A lot of times when, there's two things that I've come to understand. One, a lot of people slut shame on two fences. Men that are well endowed ain't never called me a hoe. Not one of them. Not one man that is well endowed called me a hoe. I think that's just a psychological thing that they have within them. They want something they can't have, whether they admit it or not, and then they shame you because they know they can't have it, or they've been shamed so much in their life by the people in themselves, just internalizing self-hate, that they spread that to someone else. And then there's women who do it from a different perspective of they wish they could be like that. Because see, I'm not going to go to the place that y'all probably thought I was going. Because see, what I've understood is it is less that it's women who envy you in a aesthetic look contest. It's less of that. Because men, the older you get, the more you understand that they're not that discerning when it comes to that. They're just really not. Especially if they've already had their children. They don't care about that. They care about somebody who's going to be consistent and give them pussy on a regular basis. Excuse my language. I'm going to give them sex on a regular basis that they can actually stand and look at. But outside of that criteria, they don't care all that much. And we all come to understand that. Okay? When you look at it from a perspective that a lot of women have been socialized to be married in order to have some kind of status within some kind of in group, and then their marriage becomes a part of their identity. The marriage itself is their identity, and if they don't have that, they lose a lot of their identity. So they know they can't cheat, or they know they can't have this whatever man they want, and they know they can't have lovers. They know they can't have these things, so they slut shame you because internally they want the life you live. And they can't actually express that. So there's no different than the homophobes. Thou thus protest too much. I can always tell when it's a difference between those who have that internalized self-hatred so much so that they don't see that they're beautiful. So they see a beautiful looking woman and they try to pick her apart. I can tell the difference between those and those who, don't have that necessarily on board, but they wish they could have the type of lifestyle that a lot of people they call sluts live. And they're like, we can shame the lifestyle because secretly, I wish I had that kind of swag. And they don't. But you can learn it though. Some people are born with it. For myself, it was definitely not Maybelline. I was born with that kind of sauce. And I'm cool with that. I love me for that. And as a matter of fact, I have some of the best fun in my life when I'm more free with myself and choose what I want. I don't let it choose me. hmm And so, and there's not a time in my life. There's not a time in my life that I've ever allowed a man or anybody else for that matter to have moments where they're trying to decide whether they want me. That includes a job, friendships, all of this. If you gotta sit there and contemplate whether or not you want me, oh you've already been fucked up. And as the digital computer that I am and I have been and understood and aware of a long time ago, I understood that what's within me is valuable to me. It's the highest value, of the highest value to me. And so therefore, if it ain't valuable to you, then you and me are no more. Whether you realize it or not, you and me are no more. There's only one or two times, I'll say twice in my life, where I just kind of stuck around to see what the fuck. But I learned from that. I bent my own rules on this thing that I'm talking to you about, teaching you about. In essence, to see, okay, what if I didn't do that? And guess what? It slapped the shit out of me, so I'm not gonna do that ever again. I'm going back to choosing never being chosen, hon. But even in that circumstance and in those couple of circumstances, I still chose them. it still shows that there is absolutely no filter, no boundary, no nothing that's gonna keep me from deciding on who I decide on. And then they can decide what they want. Because I think, and this is my process, I think that everybody should be allowed to choose what they want when they want it. And then find a dynamic within that is in some way safe and secure. But that's just me. Not everybody thinks like the aqua. And I respect the hell out of it, but that ain't for me. Freedom is like top sale. Now let's get to this concept that I'm telling you. Now you understand why I feel like the feminine is always going to be on top and always the most important of all things. There's other reasons, but of the main reasons for the feminine to be exalted and the return of the matriarchy to be exalted is because without the matriarchy, there would be no species, there would be no culture, there would be nothing. All culture comes from the feminine. All knowledge is passed down through the feminine. And so, if you understand the hierarchy of the feminine, which was the origin of all things, then you realize your position. You should never let nobody choose you. Not ever. I'm gonna wait around till they come back. It's almost like the twin flame dynamic. No, toxic AF. Go to a therapist. Go to a spiritual therapist. Go to anybody that you can talk to and realize how much you need to love yourself outside of that toxicity. Okay? Because let me tell you something. I don't deny the dynamic. It was obvious and it happened to a lot of folks, myself included. But what I do deny is any aspect of it that says that you're supposed to be sitting around and waiting around for anybody to come back to you, especially if you are feminine. And when I say feminine, I mean specifically feminine and female. To hell with that. So no, I was stupid, so y'all don't have to be. So y'all look back and like, wait a minute. What the hell? Absolutely not. That's not even me. And so when you understand the dynamic is toxic, And that's a part of you that you had in your DNA that you weren't even aware of. That's what my experience was like. There's something I needed to clean out of my DNA. There's something I need to heal from myself, which is another thing that the feminine got on lock right now. Because we started to heal ourselves long before any masculines on the planet even got the concept on board. I don't care what the hell nobody else say. That's my assessment of the situation. Not be around in these spiritual street longer than a lot of you folks. So whatever. And so let's move that a step forward. Understand. The question was, how come you always keep a man or have somebody? It's because one, I always tell the truth. No matter what, I always tell the truth. Don't nobody always tell the truth. I do. A lie, here's where they come from. Lies always come from fear. You have to train your body and mind not to respond to a fear response when you're speaking. Okay? Telling the truth, regardless of what that look like, will keep people who need to be there, and they'll take away people who don't need to be there. You waste a whole lot of less time when you always telling the truth for folks. So, for example, if I'm dating, just in the dating pool and I'm deciding, oh, I just want to hang out with, who I want to be around with long term or whatever. So I might date 2 or 3 people. I'm not gonna pretend like I'm not doing that for nobody. Like, I'm seeing you today. He's like, what you do? So can we link up again? What you doing Friday? Well, I have a date on Friday. What you mean you got a date on Friday? You just had a date with me. I just met you, Negro. I just met you. You ain't win nothing yet. Please slow it down. Now, I honestly told you what I was doing. If you don't like that, you can buy. If you're not mature enough to handle the fact, well, what if I wouldn't date other people? Okay, I'm gonna win anyway. That's the way I feel about it. Okay. And if I don't win, here's the thing. Come here. You wasn't for me. And I'm okay with that. Because if you ain't for me, then keep it pushing. I don't have no time to waste, nor do I want to waste time. And that's the next part. Being a CEO and boss of this vessel is a glorious thing. Once you realize you're a CEO and boss, can't nobody tell you how you run you. It's like, well, what about loneliness in the moments where you don't have a man? Okay, so you need to go backwards, and this ain't the lessons for you. This lesson is for women who have already discovered self-love in a way that nobody could fuck with. This ain't for everybody. So if you ask that question up until now, you've asked yourself questions about loneliness and things like this, I need you to go back and look at some of my other videos, but also develop some more self-love and do some more shadow work, okay? Because this level and up is for feminines who have developed that part of themselves that understand that loneliness, we understand that, but they understood the hierarchy between whether or not which one is more uncomfortable, being around somebody who's stupid, diseased. There will lie to you. I'm just thinking of not only one person, but it could be various traits that are undesirable to you as a CEO of a divine vessel. Or nobody rubbing my booty today. Or nobody hugging on me today. I see all these people in love. You better find you a hobby or something to do, a TV show that you like to binge watch. Something that makes you cool with being in your own company and fuck all that. So I'm telling you right now, there are days, well, I can go days, weeks, or even a couple months when I'm messing with nobody and be perfectly fine. That didn't used to be the case. That socialized, because some of it's just social. You don't even have to be traumatized. It's a socialized codependency that I think a lot of our divine feminines are still suffering from. How many of y'all are still sitting out here telling folks things about men that don't want you, and you know he don't want you, but yet you're still going home to him at night? How many times did he cheat on you, lie to you, steal from you. Whatever the case he did, but you still went home to him because y'all been made up. It's the first time you cheated on me, you got to go. Like, no, you gotta go. You gotta go. And if you listen to this, you have somebody like that, it's okay to love them from a distance. Well, this, and this, I have kids, I understand that. Understand it. Understand it. But now you have some choices to make. And you can make choices that are healthy for you or unhealthy for you long term. And here's where I'm going to get a little bit. Is it shadowy? Because sometimes shadowy is good. I need y'all to start embracing that concept. Is this? Ain't got no wrinkles on it. You know why? Because there are times, and they are very fleeting. Out of all the years of my life, I've had maybe a few of them, to be exact. Got a lot of men that stress me the fuck out to the point where I don't love myself enough to tell them to get the fuck out of my face and stop playing with me. And now, there are literally 0 days in which a man can tell me what to do. Just God said it best. Come on now. Come through, Jill. Because as soon as I saw, I was like, okay, so she know. She know? If you know, you know. She said, and I'll quote her, if you can tell me what to do, you can tell me what to do. But you got to be able to tell me what to do. And that bar is high as to be able to tell me what to do. So if you want to be a part of my life, we be equals. And we will always be equals. It's like, well, you're not equal to a man because he can punch your soul. Is that the only thing that makes you valuable to me? Because that's the only thing that makes you valuable to me, and your mind will let you keep thinking that. I literally let guys think that before. Where it's like, a man is better than a woman because of his physical strength. Okay. Not realizing that the world around you is made up of knives, guns, 2x4s, bricks, cars. Sir, your physical strength would have helped you when we didn't have all these things. Now, if we go in toe to toe, there's also a development of different levels of martial arts and grappling and MMA. And you know what? There's a whole lot of ways you can fall if all you have is brute strength. But someone like that, you can't tell them nothing. You can't tell them nothing. You gotta let them keep feeling the way they feel. And then it's like, you know what? This person is easily manipulatable if they think because they're physically stronger than me, that makes them better than me or somehow superior to me. And this is how you become, again, the CEO of your own body. Now you're the CEO of your domain because you put people in groups where they show themselves to be in those groups. Now, can they evolve? They absolutely can evolve. And it's very encouraged. But as a divine feminine who's harnessing and channeling her divine feminine bitch energy, you need to understand. You are the important part of that dynamic. Not that they're not important or less important, but you either have equality or you the boss or it's nothing. And when I say you the boss, I don't mean that in an egotistical way. I mean that in a he defers to you for decision making and defers to you for compromise because it understands that you have within you the keys and the codes to do that in a way that he may not be able to. Either you in that position or you're not. Y'all either equals or you're nothing. See, come here, and I know some people may not like this, especially those in the organized religion community, but it is what it is. The truth is the truth, and it's time for the truth to be unfurled in this way. The matriarchy has taken over. Y'all just didn't realize it yet, so you might want to get on board. Understand this. There's no man that is ahead of anything anymore. Like zero amounts. Okay? There's 0 men ahead of anything. Well, there's a man in the presidency. Sure there is, kid. Sure there is. Understand that it doesn't take away from your masculinity to acknowledge That a woman has strengths, even if they're different than yours, are just as valuable as a man's strengths. Now, when you add to it the ability to give life to your seed, she surpasses you in importance. She always will. Okay? Now we understand this. Does that mean that you should be treated poorly? Nah, you should be treated poorly. And the disrespect that some women give, I may not co-sign, but I ain't in their shoes. I know how to be lovely. I know how to be soft, but I also will bite your cheek and punch your throat if you try me too many times. And I'm going to tell you, using my grown up words, hey, don't do that. I may not literally bite you or punch you, but I will leave you where you had me fucked up at every single time, not without hesitation. I say, well, I'm good looking, I got this, I got that, I can lay down pipe, and this is because the reason why I have this attitude, it is because I've lived a life in which I didn't take shit off anybody. I have that as a choice. Survival tactic. Now I'm not surviving and thriving. Again, this face is the way it is, not just through genetics. Because I have family out there, they're all good looking, and be honest with you. But they kept an agent dealing with the men sometimes they deal with. And sometimes, and you know, sometimes stress ages the hell out of you. See, this stopped at a certain point and went backwards because I had enough of that shit. So, I was like, nah, we're not doing it at all. No more for nobody, not even an inch. And here's where it's going to be beneficial and crucial to you, young ladies. Come on through. Come and sit down. There's not a man alive that is attracted to a pushover woman. They tell you they're attracted to that because they want at least 2 or 3 or 4 of y'all. So they can decide which concubine they want. The women that are respected in this world by a male's gaze. Not that I do shit for their gaze. I do things for my gaze. And if I'm doing something for your gaze, it's because I've decided in that moment that I've chosen you. So now it's a fishing line and a hook situation. And I'll never not get what I asked for when I'm trying to catch it. That's the way I look at it. Okay? But that's neither here nor there. There's not a man alive that is cisgendered that will have the utmost respect for a woman or a woman that doesn't speak her mind or speak up for herself. Doesn't mean that you have to be boisterous all the time. It's not everybody has that dynamic of personality, but I will tell you, even if you find someone who is a cheater, pumpkin eater, and they actually run into a divine feminine goddess with that bitch energy rolled up into it, he will be scared for his life for 2 reasons. One, he gonna get that ass handed to him in some way, shape, or form. He already knows it. Verbally, physically, or otherwise if he tries it. Second, he don't want to lose somebody that's gonna always have his back. It's like it'll give him palpitations. It's like this person got my back, but like in a way that nobody else in my life got their back. Because you can't just be this and have this bitch mode and have this goddess mode and have all this energy like this, but also decide that you want to be disloyal and not nurturing. It's a package deal. It's the nurturing plus bitch mode. That you know how to harness whenever you need to harness, and sometimes mix them together. There ain't a man alive that ain't afraid to lose something like that. Not one. And the moment they act like, if there's a man who experienced that and fucks it up, it's because he had never had it before, but he always regrets it. Till the day they die, they regret it. They never do it again. They find another one of those, they keep on, they hold on, they clink, clink, they hold on to it. Because they know what that is. And that kind of power cannot be bought. And sometimes it can be taught, which is what I'm attempting to do for you here. Have the level of respect for yourself to understand what your position is, women, feminines. And understand how valuable you are. And then remember that as long as you are subservient to your man and listen to what the socialized constructs tell you to be as a woman, you will always be second in position. You will always be treated as less than. See, those of us who ain't getting cheated on out here in the streets, the reason why we ain't getting cheated on is because we don't care about that. It's because we don't let that happen multiple times and be like, okay, you human, let me go ahead. No. Once that's done, it's done. Those of us who are out here like being okay with being by ourselves, but also being okay with being like, I want to date 2 or 3 or maybe 4 this month. And letting them all know what their position is. See, that's a whole different type of energy. And the only way you're going to harness it, whatever type of version of the energy you would like to harness, is for you to understand. Love here first. Respect here first. This is where the respect belongs. And it won't be until somebody, like Jill said, can tell me what to do, to be able to tell me what to do. And if you gotta tell them, give them instructions on what they need to be in order to be able to tell you what to do, that ain't the one for you. You're gonna have to go ahead and throw that fishy back, or just make sure you understand what category he go in. He is great at making pasta. If he's great at making pasta, you feel like you want pasta, you go hang out with Craig and them. Okay? The one that's for you, you ain't gonna have to give instructions to. Because that vibration of attraction, that's not something that you could deny. It is what it is. Like attracts like. When you force it, that's when it gets uncomfortable. You ever force it with somebody? It gets very uncomfortable very quickly. But the concept of loneliness, or being alone, or sitting with yourself and healing and loving yourself is so detrimental to a lot of minds that have been socialized to accept less from the time that they're in fucking grade school. That you don't let them fuckboys go. Knowing full well what they are. Like nowadays we know what they are. They should be good at hiding it. But they don't hide it no more because a lot of us are waking up to our intuition, so we know better, right? But they fun though sometimes, I'm gonna be honest. That don't mean I get wrapped up into all that. No, I do not. I refuse. Sorry. Oh, last couple years have been weird. Anyway. I don't know. I've probably been all over the place, but it's felt like something that needed to be said. But especially as we're coming upon Mercury retrograde coming up, which is my next video. It's going to be talking about Mercury retrogrades of it all. Yeah, hold your boundaries firm, but also like you would be afraid of Mercury retrograde if you the CEO of your own life, and your own heart, your own mind, your own spirit. But also you have that goddess bitch mode on. Like top tier Chrysler building. Anyway, y'all loved.